What if we told you the same brain areas light up when you think about sex and indulge in your favorite dessert? Both aren't easy to stop. It might seem like their brains are stuck on repeat, but don't worry, there's more to it than you think. Let's break down why this happens and what it means, shall we? A recent study found that 7% of women and 10.3% of men have trouble controlling their sexual urges, and these numbers seem to be on the rise. Just think about it. Everywhere we look, we're surrounded by things designed to trigger desire. Add in hookup apps and the constant access to literally any content, and it feels like we're just a tap away from temptation. But what exactly is going on in our brains and bodies when we feel aroused, and why do some people seem to have stronger urges than others? Let's start with the brain, where desire actually begins. While it may seem like arousal is mostly about your body, it's far more complex. It starts in your mind. Scientists don't call it being horny like we do, they refer to it as being sexually aroused. Although that sounds a bit clinical, a lot is happening. When you spot someone that catches your eye, whether it's a TikTok video of someone attractive or making eye contact with a stranger on the street, your brain instantly processes it. Even before you're fully aware, your central nervous system starts asking, wait, is this good? This is where things start to heat up mentally. Once your brain identifies something as appealing, arousal kicks in. This stage is when your body reacts without you consciously realizing it. You might start to sweat, your heart rate might rise, and you could even feel an adrenaline rush. This is your body's way of preparing itself for potential intimacy. It puts you on high alert. You might notice physical signs too, like a general sense of excitement as your body gets ready for what could come next. Next, there's the decision-making process. Your brain is now evaluating what to do with this feeling of arousal. Whether consciously or not, you're deciding if you want to act on it. This is where thoughts about intimacy and risk come into play. Should you pursue the feeling, or is it better to let it pass? Even though it happens quickly, this internal dialogue is happening behind the scenes every time you feel aroused. If you decide to act on these feelings, that's when the physical part really takes over. Your body moves into full arousal mode with sexual organs responding accordingly. That means an erection for men or the labia becoming engorged for women. This is where arousal reaches its peak and could lead to orgasm depending on the situation. Afterward, your body enters a phase of resolution. Your heart rate calms down, and those intense feelings start to subside as your body returns to its normal state. But why are some people hornier than others? A big factor here is hormones. Testosterone, for example, is a hormone that influences sexual desire in both men and women, and higher levels of it can lead to a stronger sex drive. Psychological factors also come into play. People who are stressed or anxious might think about sex more as a way to escape those feelings. Others might simply associate sex with happiness and comfort, which keeps it on their minds more frequently. Our modern environment also plays a huge role. Let's face it, we're surrounded by sexual imagery all the time. Social media, advertising, and even TV shows are filled with content meant to provoke desire. It makes it hard not to think about sex when we're constantly exposed to it. Lastly, individual personality plays a part. Some people are just more naturally inclined to think about sex. It could be because of curiosity or because they place a higher value on physical intimacy. These personality traits can make sexual thoughts pop up more often, especially when there's an attractive person nearby. With all these factors working together, it's no surprise that some people feel like they're losing control of their sexual urges. Between hormones, psychological triggers, and constant sexual stimuli, it's easy to see how someone could feel overwhelmed. However, it's vital to manage it healthily. There's nothing wrong with feeling aroused, but knowing what's going on behind the scenes can help you manage those feelings without letting them take over you. Once the deed is done, your body goes through some physiological changes. This is all controlled by the firing of neurons in your brain and the release of hormones throughout your body. During arousal, multiple parts of the brain light up, like the inferior frontal lobule, parietal lobules, insula, frontal cortex, and cingulate gyrus. These brain areas are buzzing with activity because of hormones. At the same time, they control the release of more hormones that flow through your system. This is where things get both complicated and fascinating. At the beginning of desire and arousal, two main hormones take the lead: testosterone and estrogen. These hormones are produced by the ovaries and testes. How convenient. Research suggests that men with higher baseline levels of testosterone tend to feel hornier. The same goes for women with higher levels of both testosterone and estrogen. However, as much as it seems convincing, most studies end by saying that these findings aren't set in stone just yet. Once things get more physical and the arousal has gone genital, a whole new set of hormones come into play, including norepinephrine and dopamine. These are the feel-good hormones that make everything seem, well, really good. Dopamine, which is released from the hypothalamus, gives you that yummy sensation in your brain, much like when you eat delicious food. On the other hand, norepinephrine makes you feel giddy, energetic, and euphoric. However, it can also suppress your appetite and make it hard to sleep. Yes, you can actually get so turned on that you lose sleep. These hormones also play a role in making you less aware and more prone to non-rational behavior. That's why during sex, you might say or do things that later make you giggle and wonder, did I really just do that? It's all because your brain is in a heightened state of pleasure and stimulation. Orgasm is when everything reaches its peak. For women, this involves rhythmic contractions of the pelvic floor muscles. For men and women alike, the central nervous system, sensory stimulation, and hormones all align to create that intense feeling. After the big climax, both men and women experience a release of serotonin. This is a hormone that stabilizes mood and often gives you that blissful afterglow that you see in movies. When people are aroused, they start seeing the world differently. They might misrepresent non-sexual situations as sexual and take more risks, like engaging in unsafe sex. It's amazing how much our brains shift when pleasure chemicals are involved. So the next time you find yourself scrolling through social media or indulging in something that makes you feel good, remember this: your brain is shaped by those moments in ways you might not even realize. But here's the big question: are we overstimulating ourselves? The answer might be yes. So what are your thoughts on this? Let us know in the comments section below, and don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more engaging content like this. See you next time, and bye for now.